That is the new Chief of the Defense Staff in person of General Olufemi Oluyede, and some of the new ranks too with their new leaders. We have Chief of Army Staff, which is now headed by Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu. We have Chief of Air Staff as Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Idi Ibas, and Chief of Defense Intelligence, we have Lieutenant General Emmanuel Nadineye. Well, this is the portfolio that we have right now.
Yes.
So last week, President Tinubu sacked the former CDS, and then there was a reshuffling. So now we have the former Chief of Army Staff being the new Chief of Defense Staff. What do you make of that?
I've read a lot about sacked. I don't know why Nigerian press they are used to that word sacked.
No, it sounds sweeter.
No, it's not. It's not complimentary to them for what they have done. I can say, okay, new services were appointed because actually it's like they completed their own tour of duty. Because what the president has done is a very bold step. That means the president understands the art of leadership. Because now you have created motivation for those who are down there. You know, the military is very hierarchical. So now that you moved out those service chiefs, gaps have been created. People have, suddenly, unlike what we have in the past, that we have some people, service chiefs stay in that place for 5 years. That means there's stagnancy. That means people don't have hope, won't be motivated. Because now we have a new chief of army staff, and that will go around the service, unit. Okay, so people have moved out, people have moved up, so that creates new energy, right? Motivation. That's what you need. So it's the same architecture. It's just that it's the apex leadership that has been changed. The operational commanders are still going to be there. So that is the way it works. So that means the president understands the way this thing works. Yeah.
All right, sir, because if we look at how security has been in Nigeria, a lot of people have called for the sack of even the IGP, the Chief of Army Staff, and all of these ranks, because they feel like they're not doing enough when it comes to ending insecurity in Nigeria. We see our parts of Nigeria right now that people are afraid to travel to those areas. A lot of people in the south, even among the northern people, there are some places that they are afraid to travel to because of this insecurity. So do you think that this reshuffling should have come earlier than it is coming right now? I
think it came at the right time. There's no time that you will not have insecurity problem. There's no country in the world where you have zero level of insecurity. It just varies depending on the geographical and geopolitical situations that you find. Even in America, even in the UK, don't you see once in a while this? So there's no time that you will have 100% that you won't hear about it, because now the economy is even difficult for a lot of people. So a lot of people naturally want to to cut corners, stick to crime, and all of that and all that. So you will continue to have that. But the thing is that we can see that there's an improvement from where we're coming from before, and now we have a president who has that political will to take very difficult decisions that is hurting us or hurt a lot of people. But you know that's leadership, because if you don't take those bold steps now, in fact, when I was listening to a lot of analysis, okay, particularly that of the former CBN governor, that in the last dispensation, we were printing money. The CBN was printing money to support the subsidy, But now there's more revenue coming in now. The governors have money to. Then the salaries were not being paid in some of the states. In my own state, on those states, they were civil servants were for 7 months salary. All my friends and that were calling us in Lagos, please, we can't eat. They not pay our salary for 7 months. They've not paid our salary for 5 months. But Nigeria will easily forget those situations. That now the civil servants at least they get their salary as I went, because there are more revenue coming into the states. Okay, the problems are going to still be there, but it's a work in progress. We will not solve the problem in one day.
Okay, right, because if we look at some of these regions, for example, now in Kwara State, there are some villages there that there's no inhabitants in those villages anymore because they had to run away because of banditry, insecurity, people coming there to kill, and then a lot of kidnapping and demanding of money for ransom. And one of the things that get people worried is the government of the day knows that there are security threats in these areas, and it seems as if they're just folding their arms and they are waiting for the bandits to leave rather than them taking proactive action, because they would say that they deployed security to those areas, but then the next day or a few days later you still see residents of those places complaining about they being sacked from their homes.
From their homes, yes. From their traditional homes and farms and yes. Settlements yes. And all of that.
So now, if they were as active as that is being painted, should we not always see that especially when they know the location of all of these threats, should we not be seeing proactive steps being taken to return sanity to these villages and neighborhoods?
Well, the way I understand this is that insecurity and how to fight this insecurity is going to be a whole people approach, because we don't have enough men in our military, in our defense forces, and even the law enforcement, the police, to be able to police the whole country. So we have what we call a lot of ungoverned areas, ungoverned spaces, because we don't have enough men, we don't have enough capacity, human capacity in the military or in the police that we can station in every village, every hamlet, secure them, don't when they come, shoot at them, kill them. So these people go about and they have this local information. They know where to go, and they, when they strike here and the press, we blow it and all, they go to other places. So those communities have to come together, because they also are traditional ways of securing these communities and getting the invaders away. So those communities must come together, because if all the communities are going to depend on Abuja, depending on the military, then when they come, how many men do we have serving in our military? How many villages do we have that are vulnerable? So these are the things that the traditional rulers, the communities must look at and see how the men in those communities can at least provide some form of resistance, form of self-defense. I know it's been done in some communities. And I don't just want to mention it. I know it's been done in some communities where I am part and parcel of. And what they did was to make sure that they look for, even their members of that community in diaspora, look for money. Those young men that are not employed in the communities, to serve as vanguard to protect those communities. And they got the state government involved. They were able to get license, at least. You will not just sit down and you will come and kill you, kill your wife, kill your children, and the next is just to lament on the television. They have come home, these people are not spirit, they are human beings like us. So it must get to that point, because there's no way you are going to have the military in every village. Maybe 5, 10 of them. How many of them do we have in the military that are serving? How many of them do we have in the police that are serving? So that is the way out. People must understand that the military cannot be everywhere at the same time.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. Now we are joined by Jide Oju, who's joining us live from Abuja, a political analyst. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
It's my pleasure, everyone.
Okay, all right. So the topic we are discussing right now is the new service chiefs assuming office. We have all the positions for the service chief. They all have new people heading them now. What do you make of this new development?
Well, the change of new service chiefs is not new. It has happened time and again, and it will continue to happen. What I do believe is that it's not the only panacea to our insecurity challenge. Because if you like, you can change security chiefs every 6 months or every quarter. It won't make any difference if you don't do the needful. The issue around state policing has been on the table for years. It was only that Tinubu talked about him supporting state police. If we have state police, what I heard my colleague in the studio talking about how many soldiers do we have? that's that number will have significantly improved. Remember, about 2021, 2022, I don't know which event was, but President Tinubu, then a chieftain of APC, was asked about how to solve the problem of insecurity. He said you need to recruit. Initially he had a freedom slip where he said you recruit 5 million people. We know that 5 million is on the very high side. There is no way you will have paid for that kind of number. But are you shocked that we don't have up to 1 million policemen guiding a whole country of over 200 million? How do you want to effectively police the country? I'm not sure we have up to 200,000 soldiers, and I mean members of the Nigerian army. So we need more boots on ground. We also need to bring in technology. I was surprised when it said Boko Haram is already using drones to spy on the location of Nigerian soldiers. We are the one that should have taken that initiative long before now. We should have been using all-weather drones to know the location of the enemy and to plan effectively on how to neutralize. But situation where bandits and insurgents are now deploying drones to spy on our own military formations, it shows that a lot needs to be done in terms of arsenal, in terms of equipping the Nigerian military, armed forces, and even the police. So it's a welcome development. I listened to former Chief of Defense Staff, Chris Musa, who said he had been in the military for 39 years. If it had been in the civil service, he will have retired after 35 years or 60 years of age, whichever is earlier. So him being there for 39 years shows that the system is kind to him. Yes, we love him. He seems like a very good gentleman, but a tree does not make a forest. As we have him, brilliant mind, he was there for 2 years. So, and I learned that usually that appointment is done every 2 years. So it's just to pave way for a new set of people to also move up the ladder. But I don't think it was punitive, except maybe it was found to have been derelict in determining the so-called rumored coup. Maybe he was not on top of his game when that incident happened, but the military have denied that there was a coup. So we cannot actually, in good conscience, pin it to him that maybe he was inefficient. But by and large, I don't think having the service chiefs changed alone would change the dynamics of having an effective security of the country. We need to do a lot more. We still have very porous borders. We have floating all over the place, small arms and light weapons. So how do you mop up these small arms and light weapons? How do you ensure that they don't and they are not regularly flowing in again? How do you effectively police the border? I know that there was an e-border, multi-billion naira e-border solution under Buhari. We don't know whether that has been completed and how effective it is. So that still needs to be done to tighten the nuts and bolts of our security architecture if we actually want to have a meaningful and effective security system in place.
So when we are talking about revamping the security architecture, because the directive of President Tinubu gave this new service chief is to make sure that they end insecurity, especially in the northern parts of the country. But if we are to look at reports that filtered in last month, some of the bandits that were caught actually pinpointed that they get weapons sometimes from even military personnel. So if we are having bad eggs among military personnel, what can we do to make sure that this stops, or that the bad eggs among them are caught, so that we will not have this challenge all over again?
Remember me, issues of fifth columnists within the armed forces and security sector is not new. I've done a number of opinion articles in my column in the Punch where I've raised issues of the saboteurs within the system, the fifth columnist. And it's in every system, but you have to devise a means of weeding out the bad eggs. I learned one of the 16 people arrested, one Brigadier General Sadiq, who purportedly is one of the arrowheads of the Phantom coup. I want to call it Phantom coup for now. One of the things he was said to have done proud to now was he has been caught selling arms and ammunition to bandits. But I wonder why he was not dismissed, even if he had been court-martialed previously. Is it that he has a godfather within the system that protected him? So the Nigerian Armed Forces must devise a means to ensure that the fifth columnists and the saboteurs within it are routinely weed out, so that they will not sabotage the effort of the larger majority of them who are very patriotic. You know, there is a popular saying that out of every 12, there must be a Judas. So you cannot have a pool of over 100,000 or 200,000 people and think that some will not want to take advantage of the system. Well, Nigerian Armed Forces is one of the organizations with very regimented and very strict disciplinary measures. What I just want us to, what the authorities need to do is that when people like that are caught, they are just not given a slap on the wrist. They are ruthlessly dealt with, because the act of sabotage has actually caused failure and tears, sorrow, and pain to many families. Imagine if you are leaking information, vital information to the enemies about the position of the military. You are endangering the lives of those who are going to take part in that operation. So if you are within the system, you are doing arm and ball for the enemies, or you are selling weapons to them, you are aiding and abetting act of treason within the system. So it's for us it's for the Nigerian military and the police authority to tighten the knots and bolts of information sharing, to tighten the knots and bolts of ensuring that there is routine surveillance on their officers and men, because I want to believe that if not for the fact that that is in place, even the arrests that have been made thus far would not have been possible. But we know that I remember many years ago when I first wrote about this issue, there was a Major Akubo who was alleged to be selling arms and ammunition to bandits from the Nigeria Defense Academy, or one of the stores in Kaduna State, that the guy was caught. But what was done, that kind of person should not just be sacked or dismissed, he should be made to face firing squad, because that is an act of, sabotage, a sabotage that has led to death, that has led to maiming of your colleagues within the system. So my own take is that we need to ensure that um, there are proper surveillance mechanism in place, particularly the new recruits. I recall that some years ago, it was alleged that proper screening was not being done for new recruits into the Nigerian police and Nigerian army, and that people with criminal records were finding their way into the system. More so that there was an allegation that some of them were paying bribes. They were paying money to get enlisted. And that in itself says so much about those who are involved in the recruitment exercise. So if you are collecting money to enlist new recruits, it then means that even if a bandit who has made money through illegal means pays you handsomely, you will enlist that person, and that person will definitely sabotage the effort of his colleagues within the system. So it's a whole value chain that needs to be fine-tuned. And then the military authority, given the fact that they were exposed to international best practices, they go for training abroad, they know the latest technology that they can use. I think they need to avail themselves of such to ensure that the bad eggs within the system are routinely pushed out.
And now to Dr. Felix.
Yes.
We have the CDS who served 39 years.
Yes.
And I always have this admiration for military men, because it's not something easy. You are going to lay down your life for the nation. But now that we are having instances where people are even bribing their way to go to the military, when has it turned from a call for heroism now to just a call of, I want to get employment and then I need to make money to sustain myself? How do we return the old military career to it being a call to service, a call to honor the fatherland, a call to guide the citizens, rather than it just being a means of employment, even for people who don't really feel that thing in their hearts to really come out and serve the people?
You must understand that there are various ways which you can join the army. Maybe why he served that long, maybe he joined maybe after secondary school, went to the academy, and once you go there, you become regular combatant officers. And so maybe you join Lily at the age of, he must have joined, because I'm sure he's not having served 39 years. Maybe he's like joining his early 20, and that's the tradition of the officers' corps. They want you to come in at the age of 20, immediately after your secondary school. The academy is now a university level, certificate. So it's like you go to the university, you are going through the academic side, and you're also doing the military, training combatant, and when you come out, you start serving. And you know that they also, you can also live at 60 and all that. So, but they are not strict about 35 years of service. Okay, and at that level, once you are appointed as the chief of army staff, the chief of defense staff, you now hold that office at the privilege of the president. Okay, so he can extend it, he can for overriding public interest and all of that. So that's why you have that stability, because you need stability, you need mentoring, you need a lot of things at that level for those who are coming behind, so that they can gain a lot of knowledge and you can share that knowledge with them. So it's very good.
Yeah, but do you think that the reason a lot of people might not want to join the military is because probably they are afraid?
Yes, but yes, of course, with the insurgency, even the officers' corps was depleted, because a lot of ambush, a lot of internal problem when the insurgency started. Because the insurgency itself is not what. I remember the one chief of defense staff then said they were not teaching insurgency in the academy, because it was not part of the challenges that we have. So it was when we started having this insurgency that they have to now, invite other countries who have gone through it, like the US, and now to come and train our officers and soldiers how to fight insurgency, because we are fighting a battle that has no definition. So somebody will just come from one, the enemy, a member of your country. Soldiers are trained to defend territorial integrity, but now you don't have to face internal challenges of your citizens who are carrying guns against their own military. So it's something that is very difficult. But I think Nigeria will just say, oh, they are not doing enough. They are doing so much. Because how do you identify the enemy? The enemy is not easy to identify them in the insurgency. So, but how many people have been killed? So place that's a difficult. But for some of us, like me, I serve in the army myself. So I know that it's very difficult for Nigerian army to navigate. So, but we need encouragement from Nigerian citizens to understand that the military are doing their best. Our military is one of the best in Africa, if not in the world. Discipline, training, and all of that. And everywhere they've gone, whether in UN operation, ECOWAS operation, they always come back with a lot of, applause. So we needed to continue to support our military. And so people also go there to join, maybe some, because they have other levels of joining. Maybe after your degree, and you want to join what we call short service. But now with the unemployment and the difficulty for people go there. But when you now go there and after training, they now post you to the northeast, and you now have to go and face. Some people will run away. I know some people after about so this is what I'm getting, they will leave and run away. But for those who want to take it as a career, like the generation of the CDS who said this is what I wanted to do, because that time is maybe just because of the uniform. Maybe because, when they go to secondary school and talk to them, come and join the academy, and you see young officers and the way they start their uniform, the way they do their parade, I want to be in the army. So that was the motivation then. But it has changed now.
Now it's all about quest for employment rather
it's
than
part of it. But there are still people who want to, do the job, who want to be trainers, so they want to maintain a career in the military.
Okay, but also like a lighter matter now. We have some people who join because they just want to be able to discipline people in the public, because there's always this respect.
And that's a wrong motive.
Yes, there's always this respect that comes to being a military person. And then some people say that they are looking, whenever they are done with the trade, that they are just hoping that someone looks for their trouble
so that
they'll be able to discipline.
That's the wrong motive of joining the military, because the military are still under the civil authorities. Yes. You are still subject to civil rules and regulation. Being a military, being a soldier, an officer, does not make you above the law.
Okay, all right. So now let us look at how things are done in some other countries. Like, let's say after you are 18 years, you have to serve the military of your country.
Compulsory.
Compulsory military service. Do you think that might work in Nigeria, especially now that we know that we have, should I say shortage of military personnel? Do you think that might work in Nigeria?
Yeah, because we have a form of that, like the NYC,
yes,
that you have to do. So it's been advocated severally that they should be trained in how to handle weapons, so that they can serve as a reserve, so that when you need them, you can record them to come and join. It's a good, but it has to be constitutional amendment and all of the processes, and to get that into our constitutions to say compulsory military service. They have it in the US and other places, so why not? We should have it here. It's good.
Okay, all right.
I will support it anytime.
All right, so Jide Ojo, what do you think of that development, sir? If we might be having our compulsory service time for university graduates, they having the particular amount of years that they will serve in the military to help boost the number of security personnel that we have?
Well, I think I will not say it should be made compulsory. Rather, people who want to volunteer should be encouraged. Don't forget, right now the situation is such that there are even people on their own who wants to. I know someone who applied to NDA four consecutive times and was rejected. Even despite the fact that you know that you are signing your death warrant if you are mobilized. We have reserved. See, the problem Nigeria has is just the right leadership. People have been retiring. Even this General Musa said on Friday during his pull-out parade that he will be in Abuja if they need his expertise. He's ready and willing to offer. There is a pool of servicemen who are still active, capable, experienced that we can mobilize if really we want to beef up our security. Do you know that many of our retired police officers and generals are now being employed by the state to head their military, to head their vigilante operations, like those who are heading Amotekun in some states have military background. There are those who are also employed as engaged as special advisors, senior special advisors. But as to the youth service is already seen as paramilitary, and they do the drills and all of that. I participated about 30 years ago. But you know, at that stage, people have their own career path before them. They didn't choose to go into the military, otherwise, they would have gone to the academy. So, if you are now making it compulsory for them to say, after you have graduated as a medical doctor or as an architect or as a mass you have to now do voluntary. Uh, I don't, even in US, it is not true that in US that everybody is trained on how to carry weapons and all of that. No, maybe that may be true to an extent in China, but or maybe in North Korea, but in US and many democracies, it's not mandatory. But that is not to say that what I will advise is that as parents, you can enroll and encourage your children into martial arts. Let them learn about judo, taekwondo, karate, so that they can engage in self-defense. If they have self-defense skills, that is useful for them to protect themselves. Imagine somebody being headed like a sheep into the forest by kidnappers. If you are very sure you are a black belt in karate, you can disarm those guys and save the situation. But how many of such opportunities are there for Nigerians to take? So, and these things is best learned when you are very young in your before you are even 10 years. If you start attending martial arts classes, if there are many, and this is what I will encourage even private sector to establish, learn a bit. If that offer is there for people to come and learn about taekwondo, to learn about judo, learn about karate, learn about some other martial arts, that helps, because even in a residential environment, if you are under threat, you can help secure your community with that kind of skills. So that would be the one I will encourage parents, and that's an appeal to parents. If you have opportunities to expose your children to martial arts techniques, let them take that kind of even if it's for 6 months, 1 year, and they continue to practice, it can come handy to save their lives sometimes in future. Unfortunately, for many who do not have that skills, and they become vulnerable to attack. Just imagine if the Arise TV lady who jumped to death recently in Abuja here, if she had some training in martial arts, she could have been alive, because she could have been able to disarm some of those bandits, and even in disarming them, uh, use their weapons against them, and that could have saved the entire building. Such opportunities are not there to make it compulsory for everybody to learn about military training or stuff of that nature.
Dr. Felix, there's this saying that hard times usually birth strong men, and soft times, peaceful times usually birth usually birth weak men. Do you think that perhaps that might be the issues that we're having in some of our communities in Nigeria? Perhaps because of the sustained period of peace, everyone has grown weak because everyone is relaxed when it comes to defending their borders and everything like that. So do you think that perhaps, like Gideon just said, we should revive training, these little trainings on how to defend our neighborhood and that? Because now we are in our times, and our times definitely have to give us strong men, not the male gender in particular, but humans, have to give us strong humans. Do you think that perhaps that might also be some of the challenges that we are facing in Nigeria? Because all communities just sacked, burnt, destroyed, and everyone is just running for their lives. Someone is trying to defend themselves.
That's not true. It's not a general. I don't think it's general. We can just generalize it like that, because I know some communities that have gathered themselves together and planned their own defense of their community against these invaders, because they are invaders. And let's be very, very realistic. We don't have enough men in our military to be able to, and we don't have the electronic, coverage like drones and that can help right now. And it takes time and a lot of, resources to be able to get to that level. So in the interim, the communities, the governors, it's not that they leave all these things to the president and Abuja and the military, and they just raise their hands up and say, they can arrange some of this with the resources that they have. They can buy guns, because what made these invaders to be that powerful is because they have guns. Once they know that the community they are going to face some counter attack, they will think twice. And they do this in the night. So if you have been hearing that this is going on, those men, those communities can come together, communities. There's a way they can come together. It's been done. I know it is done way back, even when we are not having insurgency. From our own community where we come from, I know that we have hunters. That time we used to have armed robbers in those local communities. And so you see hunters in the night. When we were young, they will not sleep. They mount at the entrance or exit of all the communities. And maybe they support themselves with, and all of that. You could see it as children, yes. Okay? So, assuming we are not even using that, but you cannot just, I think you are going to depend on Abuja. If it happens, they carry the president, they shout the president, it's happening on those states in Benin. The president does not have that, the president has to take responsibility as a commander-in-chief. But the governors have their own role to play. The chairman of those local communities, local governments and all of that, now they have direct access to their own resources. Security should be part of what they should plan for, of those communities. And they can do that in conjunction with the law enforcement, the police, and even the military, locations around that community. Because if they join hands together and do that, then gradually we can, these people can know that, they will not join to any community without being resisted.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that. And now to Gideon Ojo. When it comes to the fight against banditry in Nigeria, for the past administration, one of the things that we saw was common was the fact that whenever some of these bandits are caught, they are said that they are rehabilitated. Do you think that might actually help situations, especially when it comes to combating criminality and insecurity in Nigeria? Okay, since he's not with us at this time. So, to you, sir, do you think that granting bandits, giving them rehabilitation, do you think that would really help us in the fight against insurgency?
That will not help. That will not help, because we have seen that these people, having killed people and kill our soldiers, and you suddenly rehabilitate them and even absorb them into the system. And we have seen that it's not working. And I know the present administration will not continue with that, because I mean, they kill our soldiers and maim our people, rape communities and get them desolate, and then all of a sudden we said we are rehabilitating them and even ready to bring them back into the system. That is not good. That is not in the interest of this country, and I think that should not be encouraged.
Okay, and let us look at the recent prerogative of mercy that the president signed. We got a lot of public outcry over pardoning of some people, some alleged criminals, and some people that the public felt like they were not fit for this prerogative of mercy, and because of that, the president had to review some of these people that they've been given. So, if we are to be giving prerogative of mercy, of course, that is with the discretion of the president. But what do you think should merit this the most?
Well, I think they should follow the constitutional framework that is designed for that, and that what it shows is that the president is not getting the right of quality of advice that he needs to get, and the president should review his inner circle of advice, and there's a presidential amnesty committee, right, that worked on that. Maybe send it to the Council of State. I know the Council of State has to sit on it. I don't know whether they will mention him by name and all of that. We don't know how it works there. But definitely, the president is not being properly advised. And thank God the president have the courage to say no, because of the criticism that we are going to review this list. It's good.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you so much for that. So you're still on to firecrackers. Let us quickly go on this break. And when we come back, we are still discussing the issue of security in Nigeria. Just stay with us. Good to have you back. If you're just joining us, this is Firecrackers. Now to my guest here in the studio, Dr. Felix Olorin Damilola. For these new service chiefs that have just assumed office, what advice would you give to them?
To continue to do what they are doing before and to do it more. Because I believe, I've read through I watched the screening in the National Assembly, and I know that all of them were part of, the field commanders under the previous service chief. So now they've come to the stage now. So it's good, because change is permanent in life. Now that they are the driving seat now, so from what they've been doing before, and now they are where they are now, they are able to look at, with the benefit of hindsight, to know what are lapses, what areas we need to concentrate more, what new energy is required, on the table for us to win this war against insecurity.
All right, we really thank you so much for that. And to our service chiefs, we wish you the very best of luck in discharging your affairs at the helms of service. So thank you so much, Dr. Felix Olorin Damilola.